The burden I never chose. When I was 16, life stopped asking me what I wanted. My parents died in a car crash that December, and in the blink of an eye, I went from being a teenager with college dreams to a full-time parent for my little brother, Justin. He was 10, skinny, quiet, and scared. I still remember how he held my hand at the funeral like it was the only thing anchoring him to this world. So I stepped up. There was no other option. While my friends worried about prom and part-time jobs, I was learning how to pay bills, cook meals, and attend parent-teacher conferences. I was the kid raising a kid. And no matter how hard it got, I loved him fiercely. He was all I had left, and I swore I'd protect him from everything. Everything but the future. Years passed. I worked, I survived. But I never really lived, until Melissa. She walked into my life like sunlight. Kind, funny, and gentle in a way that made me feel human again. I was 29 when we met. She was 25. I couldn't believe someone like her would want someone like me, this tired, emotionally worn-out man who barely had time for himself. But she did. For 2 years we were happy. Or so I thought. We didn't have fireworks, but we had warmth. We had dinners and movies and long talks where she'd fall asleep on my chest. Justin liked her too. He said she brought color into our home. He was right. Maybe too right. One day I came home early from work. I didn't mean to eavesdrop. God knows I wasn't trying to be nosy. But I heard her talking to a friend on the phone, giggling softly in the living room. Her friend asked, "Are you happy with him?" And Melissa said, "He's sweet, takes care of everything. But he's just kind of average in bed, you know?" I froze. Her friend laughed. "So why stay?" Melissa lowered her voice, but I still heard it. Every word. "I'm not. Justin's my real fix. We've been seeing each other for 8 months." My heart stopped. My lungs wouldn't work. I gripped the wall beside me just to stay upright. 8 months. 8 months of lies in my house, under my roof, with the brother I raised like a son. I should have burst in. Should have screamed, cried, something. But I just stood there, feeling the ground vanish under my feet. I had sacrificed everything for them. And this was my reward? To be replaced. To be mocked. To be nothing. I walked away from that hallway and into the kitchen, numb. Everything felt too quiet. Too heavy. And in that moment I realized, my story was no longer about the girl I loved. It was about the brother I didn't know anymore. My brother, my betrayer. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed with my eyes open, staring at the ceiling like it might offer answers, or mercy. My thoughts swirled in a storm of betrayal and disbelief. I kept hearing Melissa's voice echo in my head. Justin's my real fix. 8 months. 8 months of secrets, stolen glances, and whispered lies. Right under my nose. I had been raising a traitor in my home and sleeping next to another. The next morning I didn't make coffee. I didn't shower. I didn't even look in the mirror. I waited until Justin came home. The moment I heard the door click, I called his name. Calm. Too calm. He walked in with that same goofy smile I used to find endearing. "Hey, what's up?" I looked him dead in the eye. "How long?" His smile faltered. "What?" "You and Melissa." "How long?" He laughed nervously. "What are you talking about?" I took a step forward. "Don't lie to me, Justin." "Not today." He went pale. "It's not what you think." "How long?" He opened his mouth, closed it. Then he dropped into a chair like someone had punched him in the stomach. 8 months, he said. Barely a whisper. I wanted to scream. I wanted to punch him, to break something, anything. But I didn't. I just stood there staring at the boy I raised, now a man, and a coward. "Why?" I asked. He couldn't look at me. "I don't know. It just happened." "Don't give me that," I said. "You don't just happen into your brother's girlfriend." He finally looked at me then. His eyes were red, but I didn't care. "I didn't mean to hurt you." "But you did," I said. "You stabbed me and twisted the knife. And you kept twisting every day, every time you smiled in my face like nothing was wrong." "I love her," he said, like that was some kind of justification. And that's when I knew I had nothing left to say. I stepped back. "Then forget I ever existed." He stood. "Please just listen." I held up my hand. "You're dead to me." Then I walked out. Out of the kitchen. Out of the house. Out of the life I'd built from the ashes of our parents' deaths. I cut Melissa out too. Told her to pack her things and get out. She left without a fight. I think in some twisted way she thought I'd forgive her. They both tried to contact me after that. Justin banged on my door, sent messages, left voicemails. Melissa wrote me a letter. I didn't read it. I moved in with a friend, told everyone not to disclose my location. I shut down the trust fund I'd built for Justin's future. I didn't care about the money. It was the symbolism. I had built that safety net for him because I believed in the man he could become. That man didn't exist. I wasn't grieving a breakup anymore. I was mourning a brother. The year I didn't want to live. People talk about heartbreak like it's poetic. Like it's sad songs and empty wine bottles and crying on the couch. But what they don't tell you is how cold it is. How you can wake up at 2 a.m. with your heart pounding so hard you think it's going to explode. How food starts to taste like ash. How you sit in the shower for an hour because the sound of the water is the only thing that drowns out the voices in your head. I was a ghost. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I barely spoke to anyone. My friends, God bless them, tried. But what do you say to a man who lost not just love, but trust, family, everything? I saw them together in my dreams. Laughing at me. Her lips on his neck. His hand on her waist. Whispering things like he's better than you. She never loved you. You were just the stepping stone. I started to believe them. There was a day. I still remember it like a freeze frame. I walked out to the train tracks. It was quiet. Too quiet. The wind felt like it was trying to carry me away. I stood there looking at the horizon, waiting for the rumble. I told myself it would be quick. I told myself no one would miss me anyway. But then, I heard my name. Over and over. Louder. Closer. It was my best friend, Noah. He grabbed me, dragged me off the tracks, screamed in my face, tears streaming down his cheeks. You don't get to give up. Not like this. I broke down. Right there. On the gravel. In his arms. That was the day I realized I couldn't survive alone. I checked myself into therapy. Group sessions, solo sessions. I tried them all. At first I just sat there, numb, staring at the floor. But slowly, painfully slowly, I began to speak. About Melissa. About Justin. About the little boy I raised who turned into the man who destroyed me. The intimacy wounds ran deep. I couldn't date. Couldn't touch. I tried once, just a one-night stand, thinking maybe that would fix something. It didn't. It made it worse. She saw the fear in my eyes and I saw the pity in hers. I wasn't ready. But healing, they say, is not a straight line. And every little effort, every honest tear, every hard conversation, was a brick in the foundation of my new life. I wasn't whole yet. But for the first time in a long time, I wanted to try. Chapter 4. The woman who taught me how to breathe. I wasn't looking for love. I wasn't even looking for companionship. After Melissa, after Justin, I had built my life like a fortress. One that no one could enter, and I wasn't brave enough to leave. But Wendy, she didn't knock on the door. She just waited outside with kindness. We met at a volunteer event. I was there because my therapist told me to reconnect with the world. She was there because that's who she is, someone who gives without expecting anything back. She asked me to pass her a box of canned food and I mumbled something awkward. She smiled anyway. She always smiled. We started meeting for coffee after the shifts. It wasn't a date. It was two people trying to find pieces of themselves in the quiet. I didn't talk much at first, but she never pressured me. Over time I opened up. I told her about Melissa. About Justin. About the betrayal that cracked the ground beneath me. I expected her to flinch, to pull away, to judge me. But she didn't. She just said, "You didn't deserve that. And you're still standing. That says a lot more about you than it does about them." That was the first time I cried in front of her. She didn't try to fix me. She just held my hand and let me fall apart. We grew slowly. Carefully. Our relationship wasn't a firework. It was a candle that never went out. She was patient with my fears. Gentle with my scars. She made me feel safe in my own skin again. And somehow I found myself believing that I could love, and be loved, without shame. 3 years later we got engaged. It wasn't a big proposal. I just looked at her one morning and said, "I don't want a life that doesn't have you in it." She smiled, kissed my forehead and said, "Then let's build one." Now she's 8 months pregnant. Our baby is almost here. We were picking out colors for the nursery, laughing about baby names when I saw it. An envelope in the mail. I picked it up. No return address. Inside was an invitation. A wedding. Justin. Melissa. They were getting married. And they wanted me there. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even feel rage. I just felt hollow. The email I didn't expect. I never replied to the wedding invitation. I didn't even say Wendy and I wouldn't attend. I just let it sit there. On the table. Like a ticking bomb. And then I forgot about it. We had more important things to focus on. Like prepping the nursery, choosing a pediatrician, and Googling things like how to swaddle a newborn. At 2 a.m. life was moving. It was messy, loud, and beautiful. Until the email came. It slipped through my work inbox like a ghost. I almost didn't see it. Most of my messages are handled through Slack, and I only checked that email account out of habit. The subject line said, "Please just read this." I knew who it was before I opened it. Justin. I hadn't blocked him on that account. Not because I wanted to hear from him, but because I forgot it existed. The message was long. Too long. Rambling and clumsy. But the words clung to me like smoke. He said he never stopped thinking about what he did. That it haunted him every day. That he knew he wasn't asking for forgiveness, he didn't deserve it. But he wanted to explain. He told me how, growing up, he always felt like he was living in my shadow. That I was the protector, the provider, the one who always knew what to do. And when Melissa showed him attention, real attention, he felt seen, desired, important. It wasn't an excuse. He said that outright. But it was the truth. He admitted that after I left, he had a panic attack. He tried to reach me for months. Called everyone. Showed up at places he thought I might be. My friends shut him out. So he spiraled. He and Melissa broke up, he said. Apparently, she left after realizing what they did had burned every bridge they had. She became a single mom after the next guy cheated on her. Poetic justice, maybe. They reconciled 2 years ago. Out of loneliness, guilt, nostalgia, who knows? They tried to make it work. Planned the wedding. But none of his friends would come. They all refused because it was Melissa. Because of what he'd done to me. Then he wrote something I didn't expect. I canceled the wedding. I couldn't go through with it. Not if you weren't there. He said he still wanted me in his life. That he was willing to do anything, wait a year, a decade, forever, if it meant I'd give him a second chance. He ended the email with, "I don't know who I am without you." I read it once. Then again. Then I deleted it. Because I do know who I am without him. I'm a father. A husband. A man who rebuilt his life from rubble. Chapter 6. The man I refused to be. After I deleted the email, I sat in the dark for a long time. No music. No movement. Just the soft hum of the fridge in the next room and the distant sound of Wendy humming to herself as she folded tiny baby clothes. She had no idea what was happening in my chest. I wish I could say I felt triumphant. That deleting the email gave me closure. But it didn't. It shook something loose. Not in the way Justin probably hoped. Not a path to forgiveness. But a mirror. Because as much as I hated him for what he did, as much as I still do, I saw something in that email I couldn't ignore. The scared kid. The lost little brother. The boy who lived under the shadow of someone who had to grow up too fast. But the difference between him and me? I didn't betray anyone to feel seen. He made a choice. And I've spent years bleeding because of it. That email didn't make me want to forgive him. It reminded me why I never will. My therapist once told me, forgiveness is not owed. It's earned. And sometimes the healthiest boundary you can make is permanent distance. Wendy agrees. She told me, if you let him back in even for a second, Melissa follows. And I know she's right. But something else haunts me now, and it's darker. Deeper. It's the fear that somehow, it will happen again. That one day I'll walk into a room and see my wife with someone else. That I'll hear another whisper behind a door. That the family I've built will turn to ash just like before. And I hate myself for thinking that way. Wendy has never given me a reason to doubt her. Not once. She's patient, gentle, understanding. She knows my pain because she's had her own. Her ex cheated too. That's how we recognize the bruises in each other. But still, this seed of fear lives in me. Sometimes I look at her belly and I feel joy and dread in equal measure. I think I'm going to mess this up. I think she'll leave eventually. They always do. Then I hear her laugh, or she squeezes my hand during an ultrasound, or falls asleep on my shoulder with our baby girl kicking between us, and I remember why I chose to live. Not survive. What? I'm not that broken man anymore. I'm not Justin's keeper. I'm not Melissa's mistake. I'm a husband. A father. A man who earned his peace the hard way. And I won't give that up, not even for closure. Because if there's one thing I've learned in all these years, it's that healing sometimes means walking away from the people who broke you, even if they beg you to come back. My brother's ghost. Sometimes I wonder how much of my life has been shaped by absence. The absence of my parents. The absence of peace after betrayal. And now his absence. Justin isn't dead. But in my heart he's a ghost. A shadow of the boy I once cradled after nightmares, who I taught to ride a bike, who I fought tooth and nail to protect. That version of him died the moment he touched Melissa. And maybe, just maybe, so did a part of me. But something else was born in that fire. This morning, I held Emily in my arms while the sun rose through the curtains. She was breathing softly, her little hand curled around my thumb. Her hair is soft like Wendy's, but her eyes, those are mine. And when she looks up at me, I feel seen. Not for my past, but for who I am now. I kissed her forehead and whispered, "You will never know what it means to be abandoned. That's my vow." Wendy came in with a cup of coffee and kissed me on the cheek. She smiled like she always does, warm, easy, unafraid. I don't know how she does it, how she trusts me with her heart despite the cracks in mine. But she does. She saved me. She and Emily are the light I didn't believe I deserved. And now, I guard that light with everything I have. Justin sent one more email a week ago. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. Some ghosts don't deserve resurrection. I don't hate him. Not anymore. I simply choose not to carry him with me. This life, my life, is no longer about who hurt me. It's about who stood by me while I rebuilt. Who helped me pick up the pieces and didn't ask me to be whole, just honest. I don't know if I'll ever forgive Justin. Maybe someday. Maybe never. But I've learned that healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means living despite the scars. And if I've learned anything at all, it's this. The man who once wanted to die now has every reason to live.